NTL Sports. We're finally back, guys. Episode 133. I'm back from the dead. I was COVIDified for about a week and a half here. We're back, better than ever. Here to continue some good old NFL and NBA and some MMA. Previews, reviews, all that good stuff. Today, we got the usual. I think we're on week 15 of the NFL season, Lawrence, so you know we got to do our games of the week. And NBA Cup is officially underway. We had one other two quarterfinal games last night. And then we have two going on as we speak. So we'll preview the rest of the NBA Cup. Who do we think we're going to win? All that good stuff. Coming up soon. So with that being said, guys, stay tuned. Let's kick off with some NFL games of the week. We haven't done this in a while. I think we should kick it off with the Thursday night game. I think we got another good game after a couple of not so good Thursday night games. So we finally got another good one. I think the last good one was Ravens Bengals a couple weeks ago. I think that was the last good one. Tomorrow, or I guess you guys will be watching this tomorrow, Thursday, Rams, 49ers, divisional game. I think this one is going to determine who's going to make it in the playoffs. I feel like the last playoff seed probably is coming from the NFC West. I don't think the Bears are gonna make it. I think they're a little too far gone. And I don't see two teams out the NFC South making it. So we're probably going to get two NFC West teams. That's my personal opinion, Lawrence. Well, that would be 7, though, right? Yeah, so I'm thinking two in this one, and then 3 in the NFC North.
I don't think you get another one out of the West. I think it's a one and done conference because the Eagles and Commanders, I think, are going to make it the playoffs, and then the entire NFC North is just stacked. There's 3 deep. That last playoff spot's a lot more troubling because the Commanders got off to a hot lead, and they're kind of still pacing with the Eagles, so it could go either way between the two of those.
Yeah, we'll keep eyes on it. How do you feel about this Thursday night game, though? The Rams coming off a big win against the Bills last week. Josh Allen had 6 total touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing. First time that's ever done, right? But the Rams put up points, took a block punt, returned that for a touchdown. Puka made some good catches. So did Cooper Kupp. The offense is rolling. Finally got the offensive line back and healthy. Get the 2 wideouts healthy. Kyron Williams is back on track after not scoring for a couple games. And then the Niners, they're the Niners. So how do you feel this game is going to go?
Well, the way the Niners took care of business against the Bears, especially the lackadaisical way they've been for the last few weeks, it does bode well to how they're going to finish off the season. But a big glaring problem with that thought is simply due to the fact that the Bears defense has been pretty bad for the last few weeks to close out the season. And we still have to remember that this 49ers team is not built like it's supposed to be. Like Juwan Jennings is their number 1 wide receiver right now, according to the stats. And that's not who anyone pretty much planned on being, a number 1 guy going into the season. So if I had to guess based on looking at this game, looking at 2 teams are stacked up, I'm honestly probably going to take the Rams, take out the 49ers. The Rams have notoriously had their card for the last few weeks, or not weeks, sorry, for the last few years. So I think everything just turns to Rams having a little bit of an upset in this one, especially that hot start and finish against the Bills. And I think the thing is, there's always one team the year after, between the Super Bowl attending teams, who has the fall off and doesn't make it back to the playoffs. I think that's this year's 49ers. Um, and I just I kind of see this season for the 49ers being like the Cowboys last week. I feel like they're going to be in it throughout the whole game. There's going to be moments, there's going to be opportunities, but at the end of the day, it won't be enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Rams take this one. They got they got their guys back. They're injury plagued in the middle of the season. Their guys are back healthy. And they can make a push. They're right outside the playoff seating, as you mentioned earlier. The Commanders got the last spot right now, so they just need to win out and hope that the Commanders lose a game or two here and there. The 49ers, I mean, when you look at them, they're really top heavy, and that's a good and a bad thing, right? When you're really top heavy, you're really formidable when you're at full strength, but once these injuries start stacking on, which are going to happen in the NFL season, you missing 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, you just become an average team because your top talent, your big payday guys are just not playing, and those are the guys you count on. So, I mean, I think Bosa's questionable. I think Trent Williams is out. Of course, CMC and Jordan Mason are out. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's
There's
just
a
a
lot of
lot.
injuries. There's a lot. It builds up, and there's not a whole lot this team can do.
Yeah, not without your big guns. So like I said, I think, like you said, I think they're gonna be in it, but something's gonna happen where the Rams they're just gonna pull away, and not having Bosa is a big thing because if you let Matthew Stafford sit back in the pocket, pick you apart, well, he's gonna do it. He's showing he's capable of doing it, and he's one of the best in recent memory to do it. So I got the Rams in this one. Uh, Moving along, rest of this week 15 action. Uh, I'll go first. I'm gonna pick. Who did I have? I had Steelers, Eagles, 425. Um, this will be interesting because the Steelers, they have a couple games on Baltimore, but I think they want to pit the division out of Baltimore's reach. And then the Eagles, they're on a 9-game win streak, but there is some beef going on. Honestly, some unresolved beef. We seen it last year, and it's coming back up again. Hurts, Brown. Last year, Brown had his 4 or 5 game streak, right, Lawrence, of 100
Mm-hmm.
plus yards and a touchdown every game, and MVP talks, and then I think he got hurt a little bit, and then he comes back, and then he doesn't catch balls, and the same stuff happens of him complaining about the offense, not getting enough touches, yada yada yada. It's Jalen Hurts' fault. It's coming back up again. It's just always something, and the worst part is it looks bad because hey, like you're on a 9-game win streak and you're you know BSing about not getting the ball enough. I mean, it's not a good look. I get it. You're the top dog. You're getting paid like a top dog. You would like to contribute to your team, and catching 4 passes for like 40 yards isn't what you kind of sign up for. But regardless, you gotta take care of these things behind the doors, or at the very least, don't show your displeasure. That's my personal opinion. But going back to the game, someone's gonna stop the Eagles. I don't know if it's gonna be the Steelers though. Steelers haven't played too good on defense. Last week against the Browns, Jameis was kind of being Jameis. But the week before against Cincinnati, they let Cincinnati hang 30 something up, almost 40 on them. And it basically a shootout. Steelers have a pretty good defense. They're 17th, or no, I'm sorry. They're 7th in total defense, 17th in passing yards allowed per game, 4th in rushing. And we know I saw the Eagles too. They're number 1 rushing attack, and they can throw a little bit. They got the two big dogs on the outside. They got Goddard. I don't know if Goddard's playing. He didn't play last week, but it'll be interesting to see if the Steelers defense can kind of slow down the rushing attack. Even Chase Brown ran the ball pretty good against the Steelers a couple weeks ago, so they're gonna have a tough time there. Saquon's eating. He's really gonna go for that record. I think. For all that being said, I think the Eagles is just going to be a little bit too much for the Steelers. and they're in Philly, so that gives them an even bigger edge. So I'm gonna go Philly, even though they got a little bit of turmoil because of two players beefing once again.
I'm kind of going the opposite just because of that fact. I just kind of feel like all the all the all the stirring of the pot that you know everyone's coming out and saying that Hurts can't read defenses. There's nothing, no matter what you can do, he can't read a defense. And you watch that Carolina game, it was pretty apparent he couldn't read anything Carolina was doing, which um, is going to be the complete opposite of most teams this season. Most teams have been able to just take advantage of the Carolina Panthers defense, and this is like it's honestly kind of sad to say that like you're the one team this season who was incapable of taking advantage of that defense. So you're supposed to be, top dog of the NFC. You weren't even supposed to be playing with your food in that game, and even if you did play with your food, you were supposed to win it comfortably. And you went down to the wire, and it wasn't even anything that you did. It was a fact that something that a rookie couldn't do. Um, it came down to the fact that the rookie couldn't make a play. He couldn't make a simple catch. Because if he makes that simple catch, it's game. There's like 43 seconds left. If he rolls it in, and the Eagles could not do anything in the air, which is, I think that plays well into the hand of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They can get cooked, um, on the edge, with the wide receiver unit. They get cooked in their secondary. However, if the Eagles secondary, or sorry, the Eagles wide receiver room couldn't cook the Carolina Panthers secondary, then I'm not really scared from the Steelers. So honestly, that gives you a little bit more of confidence. And if your best thing is stopping the run, which is all the Eagles can do, then I mean this is perfect opportunity weather for an upset. Um, the road dog, it's never actually the road dog because their fans travel everywhere, and especially if it's only 2 hours or 3 hours, or whatever it is between the two cities.
Mm.
I think Pittsburgh is going to show up in waves. I think it's going to be deep. And honestly, I think Steelers can take that upset because if Carolina is the closest one to do it, then I think that just kind of shows the direction in which the Eagles are facing, or sorry, headed. And honestly, it does seem like it's deeper than that. I mean, this is smelling like T.O. and McNabb back in the day, and we saw how those teams fizzled out every year. And we kind of saw last year how this team started mid and then got good and then finished horribly. They're literally kind of repeating the same thing they did last year.
Yeah, you can definitely see the tendencies of last year, uh, hopping right up. Who do you got for your first game of week 15?
So for me, it's a pretty irrelevant game, but it's going to be the first time I'm actually going to take them, and it's going to be Carolina against the Cowboys.
Them
Um,
boys.
and Carolina's a 3-point favorite at home. Probably the first time Carolina's been a favorite in any football game in probably like 3 years. And I think there's a lot of evidence behind that. And honestly, after last night's, or no, not last night's game, but after the other night's game against the Bengals, I mean, it was kind of the season all summed up right there. I mean, even at the highest point that your team can be at, like, oh, we just blocked a punt. There's still some idiot on this field that is about to ruin it for the team. Um, and honestly, I think that's where this is going to be a big important that Carolina is going to take this game because Carolina has been in every single game against the Chiefs, against the Eagles, against the Bucks. They've been in it, and they've all been 1 point games, and they just haven't learned how to win the 1 point game. And I think the big thing is Carolina's defense is a liability. Well, Cooper Rush is just straight up bad, so that takes away some of the liability issues of the Carolina Panthers defense. Um, Next, Rico Dowell. Yeah, he's having a few good games here and there, but like he's no, great, running back. So that's a little bit of comfort. They don't have to worry about that as well. Next, like CD Lamb's banged up, and honestly, at this point, what's the point in keep playing him? Your season's pretty much over, which bodes well for the Carolina Panthers. Carolina has nothing to lose, and they play like that every week, like they got nothing to lose. They'll go for it on fourth down. It's just something that you're still, I don't think, to this moment, you're going to see the Cowboys do. I think they're still going to play conservative, because I don't think uh, their coach McCarthy thinks he's on the biggest hot seat that he is. I mean, his seat is probably one of the hottest realistically. Now, whether or not Jerry Jones believes that as well. But one thing, that is I'm pretty sure of is teams, if they want a guy gone, they'll make sure he gets gone. And end of the season performances can help solidify a man being gone. And I'm at this point where I believe that Cowboys locker room does not want to play for McCarthy. And losing to a team like Carolina, whose nickname could be the Carolina Reapers, because a firing comes as soon as they lose. As soon as you lose the Carolina Panthers, someone's got to get fired. And let's face it, you lose Carolina, McCarthy's probably getting fired. Not that week, but at the end of the season. And you can contribute. Carolina will contribute to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be a good game. They're down even more
Armstrong looks
players like
good.
Overshown. He tore everything in his knee,
Mm-hmm.
ACL, PCL, MCL. So he's gone for a long time. He was one of their good outside linebackers. Micah, he's emotional as ever. Um, what's his name? They're all pro. Zach Martin, he's still out. I think he's out for the season. Cooper
He's out
Rush,
for
like
the
you
season.
said, he's not playing well. He didn't even play well against our secondary. We're one of the worst. So that bodes well for you guys. 3 points I feel like is fair just because the Cowboys just play bad at home, but they're better on the road. So that gives me a little more confidence, even with a bad Cooper Rush, to say, hey, like they'll keep it close. Panthers should win at home, but Cowboys are a better road team than home team. That's hard to believe, but it's the truth, right? Um, yes, I think you guys will win. I think with and we'll get into this a little bit later, but with Bill signing on to coach at UNC, I think that was Jerry's plan A. And now, like you said, Coach McCarthy, he should be on a really hot seat, but in all honesty, he's not. Jerry might be forced to keep him another year because there won't be anyone else as good as McCarthy, if we're being totally honest. And the Cowboys, they need all the help they can get with coaching. And yeah, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with you.
I just think Bryce Young got. I think this is going to be Bryce Young's game. I think he's going to have a big one against the Cowboys, and that'll get you national recognition beating the Cowboys.
Yeah, no doubt. Second game, I think we both pretty much are in agreement that this is probably the game of the week. Bills, Lions, the two juggernauts. Lions, undisputedly, are the best team in the NFC right now, playing well, even though they're losing players left and right on their defense. And then the Bills coming off a big loss against the Rams. Josh Allen's got the Superman cape on. Wasn't enough last game. This game, however, I'm sure he can hopefully put up the points needed to beat the Lions. So just off the bat, take the over. Don't care what it is right now. Take the over. The game is going over. These teams will put up points. He put up 40 last game. I think this is a shootout. The Lions are just missing too many people on defense. You can see DJ Reader questionable, Pascal questionable. Just like most of their D line is questionable or not playing. Bills. I think the Bills signed Jordan Poyer, right? He's going to retire at the end of the season. Sign him again. So they're a little banged up too, but the Superman cape is still going to be on. I think Josh Allen is going to go toe-to-toe with the Lions. It'll be interesting to see how the Lions go about beating the Bills, just because I want to say the Bills are probably better at pass defense. And then, of course, the Lions get the two backs in the two workhorses in the backfield, Gibbs and Montgomery. So it'll be interesting to see if they try to control the pace of the game, try to control, time of possession, or do they just go, hey, we're just gonna beat them, whatever's going that way, they're gonna do it, whether that's running or passing a whole lot. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Lions ultimately take this one because we're at Ford Field. They play really, really good at home. So I got the Lions just because they're at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills bounce back. They can't lose. They can't afford to lose again if they want that number 1 seed. They have bad luck playing the Chiefs at Arrowhead, so I don't think they want that. So, but I got the Lions in this one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with you. I think this is gonna be all the points you can put up kind of game. I think the defenses are gonna be kind of scarce, and I think it's gonna come down to the fact of who has the ball last. And honestly, this week I got the Bills. I couldn't remember right there. I think I just heard you say you're gonna take the Lions.
Yeah, I get the Lions just because they're at home.
I'm gonna go with Bills based on that loss. They were totally in that game to win. That defense just kind of crumbled a little bit. I think that's gonna be the big problem for the Lions. And honestly, like they haven't played anyone in a little bit. They haven't played anyone tough. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater on the Lions, but like, yeah, your record is like it's not really apparent to what you've been playing. Like you played the Colts, wow, whoop de doo. You played the Bears, everyone's beating their ass. You almost lost to the Bears. Let's be realistic. Like you almost let those Bears come back on Thanksgiving in your home stadium and take advantage of you. So there's nothing comfortable about that. You finally beat the Packers. But, I'll give them that win. That's a strong win. But there's a problem when you keep winning, you forget what losing feels like. And I feel like the Lions are probably in really desperate need of a loss before the playoffs. And I think this is a team that you lose to in those moments. And I think it's completely fair and fine you lose to the Bills. And it shouldn't derail or anything your season. It should just it should just be an acceptance. Like, yeah, we lost to the Bills. Oh, so what? It's not like you lost to the Bears. It's not like you lost to the Carolina Panthers. You lost to the Bills. The Bills, like you said, are in desperate need to keep pushing. It's unlikely they're going to catch the Chiefs, unfortunately, but it's still out there that they could. So they got to hope for everything and push for everything. And honestly, all the Bills need is one little slip up from the Chiefs. Then they'll be one game behind at that point, and then you just got to close out the season. I mean, you don't have anything tough. I know the Bills have to play the Patriots and the Jets. I think they still have to play the Dolphins, so it's all divisional, all winnable games. And the Lions, they got to play the Vikings one more time. That's going to be a tough one. So the Lions know what they need, and I think they'll win the division, but I think I got Bills in this one. I think Josh Allen can just do a little bit more than Goff.
Fair enough. Any other games you want to preview this week?
I think the only other game I would like to talk about is Green Bay and Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So Green Bay at Seattle. Seattle has not been the best team at home this season, like the Cowboys, for some odd reason. This is the game that if you're Seattle, you got to win. Because, let's face it, once you start losing in this division, someone's catching you. And I was, my confidence was high on the Cardinals to try to, play it out the season. I think Kyler's got the Call of Duty bug. He hasn't been the same in a few weeks. The team in general hasn't been the same for a few weeks. So
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of hit a bump in the road and it just got sent off the road completely. However, I think Green Bay wins this in Seattle just because of Seattle's woes at home this season. The fact that Seattle doesn't really have any kind of run game due to the fact that they have every single running back on their team almost broken or dead. So I think, what is it, Charbonnet as their starting running back?
Yeah, right now.
I just, if you want to break it down, okay, quarterback versus quarterback. Both of them are decent. Both of them are kind of gunslinging. So I kind of put it even right now. in terms of quarterback play because Geno's elevated right now. But all it takes is one Geno game to be like, yep, that's a Geno. Uh, Love will have a Geno game as well every once in a while, but I feel like Love this season is just doing enough to win. I mean, a lot of the big plays that are happening are his guys making the plays. Getting a guy going across the middle, and then you put it right on the dot for him, and then he just makes 10, 15 extra yards on that play. And I think that's probably what it comes down to, because if we're going to go next thing over, we're talking running back. I'm giving the edge to the Packers. If we're going wide receiver, and if we're going wide receiver top to bottom, in the scheme that they're in, I'm going Green Bay again. I think Seattle has better wide receivers, but we just haven't seen a whole lot of Metcalf this season. I'm pretty sure he's just been, just dealing with the injury bug. But regardless, like Lockett, I honestly like Lockett hasn't been Lockett for like 2 seasons now. So I think age is getting to him. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is starting to, churn up some high numbers. But honestly, I think that's because he's the one getting open because the other two are getting coveraged a little bit harder than he is. Honestly, the Packers are in a must-need win situation as well. They're skidding. They lost to the Lions. They beat up the Dolphins, and they beat up the Packers. They beat up the 49ers. But you can't forget they've lost to the Lions last time, 2 times in the last 5 weeks, and you haven't had a big win yet. You haven't had a big win probably in weeks, because we can't take Miami's win because Miami can't play in cold, so that's automatically nullified. You played the 49ers with no quarterback, and Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Can't take that one. The Bears, well, that speaks for itself. It's the Bears. And the Bears just did Bear things and during the game that could have won them the game, and then they just pushed it all in on a field goal late in the game, and you just know it's going to miss. You just know something's going to happen because it's just the Bears. In Seattle, I think they're also on the same plane. I feel like they haven't played anyone as well recently. I mean, for honest sake, they played Brock Purdy and got Brock Purdy hurt, so they got to have that game finished out easy. And they played the Cardinals, who they have their number for some reason. The Cardinals just can't seem to beat Seattle. And then you got to play the Jets, which is almost a guaranteed win at this point. I think Aaron Rodgers is comfortable getting his check and he's going home. So.
No lies detected there. I'm right there with you. Packers should win this one, unless Geno puts on the cape, which he's capable of. You've seen it a couple weeks ago. But who knows? They don't like we said a couple weeks ago. They don't play well at home for whatever reason, even though the 12th man is supposed to be their thing. 12th man hasn't shown up all year, so it's kind of a disadvantage for them right now. With that, I think that's all we got. There's 2 Monday night games this week. If you want to watch them, Bears, Minnesota, they'll play each other tough, but we all know who's going to win. And then Falcons, Vegas. Should be interesting. Kirk has played terrible. Too many picks being thrown. We'll see if he can bounce back because the calls for Penix Jr. are becoming louder and louder. So I don't know how much more Raheem Morris can ignore the calls, because they should be winning the division and they're in a big skid. So it is what it is. Let's move on to NBA Cup action. Right now we got Knicks Hawks. Knicks are winning. It's halftime right now. We're not going to go over that game. The other game tonight, Rockets Warriors on TNT. We won't go over that. So basically, we're going to preview who do we think's basically going to win this thing. We know for sure the Bucks and the Thunder are making it through, and then potentially Knicks Hawks, Rockets Warriors. Lawrence, who do you think has the best shot to make it to this championship next Tuesday?
Personally, I think it's the Thunder. I think a few things. I think this is a practice run for the Thunder, because we've said before that this should be something for younger teams to try to take advantage of, and I think the Thunder are doing it the correct way. They like you said, they really don't have that much playoff experience. Last year was their first time in a while with that regime they have in there. What, they take it to 7 games? I think they took it to 7 games.
With the Mavs, they went 6, I think.
6. I mean, they went deep in the series against the Mavs. Mavs were a much more playoff oriented team. They were literally strung up and built, and they just have a little bit of better talent playoff wise. But this is the Thunder's practice run for the playoffs. You got to learn how to win these must-win games to even have a chance. And I think the Rockets are the one that are going to be competing with them. I think the Warriors are just really banged up, and I think they took advantage of the fact that they started really good in the Cup, and they just they got to ride the coattails as the wheels have kind of fallen off recently. I think the Rockets are going to be good competition for the Thunder, and I think both of them are going to use it for their push for the playoffs. And then if we look on the other side, on the East, which honestly I don't know why we're looking on the East, because I think whoever wins is going to be the Rockets or Thunder, and it's going to be a winner from the West. Either Thunder or Rockets. Both teams are just young and hungry, which is our recipe to win this whole thing. If I'm going to go Bucks or Knicks, I'm going to take the Knicks. So I'm taking Bucks or Hawks. I'm going to take Bucks. Yeah. I don't really have much to say on the East side, because I don't think anyone is coming out of the East. The only team I could say coming out of the East that I think logically has a chance to win it all is the Knicks, and I think that's just something to prove. I think they're just doing it to prove something, that they are playoff ready. Because this is one of those teams that everyone is questioning whether or not they can make it far or make it at all in the playoffs. And the way they started the season had everyone saying, "Yeah, write it off." And it was just the start of the season. It wasn't like it was that deep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the winner of the NBA Cup this year comes out the West. Once again, the Lakers won last year. Wasn't the youth. It was more so they just set out to say, hey, we're going to win this thing. And LeBron, AD played well for the whole entire thing. Shout out to them. This year, though, I think the Baby Thunder are going to win the whole thing. I think the Rockets advance, like you said. Actually, no, I got the Warriors advancing. I think the Warriors, they have something to prove. They got a new core guys, even though DeAnthony Melton's out for the season. I think they still got guys who are willing to contribute. Steph's not playing that many minutes. Kuminga has something to prove with all these trade rumors, and we'll get to those in a little bit. These trade rumors coming out. Is he the next star to fit us alongside Curry? All this talk about his play. I think he's going to be motivated to get his name out there more. So I got the Warriors advancing, but losing to the Thunder. And then I got the Knicks beating the Hawks. And the Knicks will beat the Bucks. Like I said last night, I told you, hey, stay away from this Bucks Magic game. I just knew the game would be close for no reason. The Magic had no reason to be that close to the Bucks in an NBA Cup game. They were playing with house money. Both of their key guys are out for the same injury, torn oblique. Paulo and Franz Wagner both had the same injury, so it made no sense that the Bucks made that a game. They're honestly lucky that Suggs took bad shots at the end of the game. If he just smarted the ball, the Magic probably win, and they're probably facing the winner of the Knicks Hawks. But it is what it is with that. And from there I got the Knicks beating the Bucks, and then I could see the Knicks beating the Thunder, but I don't think. I think this means more to the Thunder. I feel like everyone, not as counting them out, Lawrence, but everyone's like, they're young, even though they made some good additions, and a lot of people have them as the preseason favorite in the West. I feel like there's still a lot of doubt just because of the injuries that are going on. They still don't have Chet. Hartenstein just came back not too long ago. So there's a little bit of doubt sprinkled in, but they got something to prove. You saw it last night. SGA went off against the Mavs. Handily beat them. I mean, at one point they were up by like 20 something, and the Mavs kept fighting back, but they held them off, which was really impressive. So yeah, I get the Thunder winning the whole thing. The Knicks, I think, will put up a good fight though. You can finally see the pieces, the new pieces are kind of meshing a little bit more. I still think it's going to take about probably 10 to 15 more games for them to kind of move up the standings more. If we look at the standings right now, I think they're fourth, right above my Heatles, but still behind the Magic and of course the C's and the Cavs. So it's going to take them a little longer to mesh, and then you'll see them probably at some point overtake the Magic, and compete with the Celtics with that second spot. Because the Cavs, I think they're playing too well. I don't think they're gonna fall from grace.
So is it like a lock that Jimmy Butler's out, or he's gonna be leaving this team?
Yeah, that's the next topic. I think hopefully everyone's seen the news. Shams pretty much broke it that Jimmy is listening to trade offers, and the Heat are listening to trade offers for him. Pat came out, I think it was preseason, and said they're not going to extend him. It's something that they're going to work out in the offseason. And then it comes out that Jimmy is willing to go to, you see right here, the Mavs, Rockets, Warriors, and he just Sham just put out that the Suns are also a potential team. Me personally, Lawrence, I think Jimmy's gone. I know I started the season and said that they'll probably work something out after the season, but with how Miami started the season, and it's took until 3 games ago for them to start playing well. Like, this is the first time that they've won more than back-to-back games all year, which is very telling. The team is just not built well. I know they're seeing success right now, a little 3-game win streak. They won 6 out of the last 10. So it's encouraging signs, but we have so much to pull from. If you look back the last couple seasons, Jimmy doesn't play enough games. And when he does play, he doesn't really, I'm not going to say he's not playing 100%, but you can tell he's kind of holding back to save himself for the playoffs, which has kind of been detrimental to the team.
Because at that point, we need a good playoff seeding. We can't just, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, we can't just
keep playing from the play-in.
Yeah.
And then even last year, I mean, he gets hurt in the playoffs, and then okay, you're the 8th seed because you went in the play-in, but now your best player is not playing, and you damn sure don't have any chance. As opposed to if you're a top 3-4 seed, okay, your player's out for the round, you might still have a chance because you're playing in a worse team on paper at least. So it's unfortunate. A lot of Heat fans are coping right now, saying the reports aren't real because of the agent came out and said that basically Shams is kind of lying, which I don't think he's lying. Shams is just putting out right information. Probably shouldn't put the agent's name in it. I think that's what the agent's mad about. But I think Jimmy's gone. Pat would be smart to trade him before the trade deadline ends. And honestly, I could see him going to the Rockets or Golden State. The Suns, I think because of how the new CBA is, they're not allowed to basically combine contracts with Butler, so it makes that trade scenario super complex. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the Mavs don't really have trade assets. I don't think the Mavs have any players that Miami would want. So that makes that a little difficult too. So realistically, you're probably looking at Houston or Golden State, or maybe somebody else comes up. I prefer Houston just because if we can get Jalen Green, even though that's probably a pipe dream, but I would want Jalen Green to pair with Tyler Hero. That would be a good backcourt. But if we can't get Jalen Green, at least give us Reed, Shepard, and then one of I think one. I think it's. Do they have a Sir or do they have a Amir Thompson? They have one of the Thompson twins, and give me Jabari Smith Jr. and then give me Fred Van Fleet in a pick. I feel like that would be good enough for me.
Jeez, just take everything.
I mean, you're getting Jimmy Butler. He can take you to the finals. We've seen him do it. He's the piece that can take you to the finals.
And he's old.
They want him.
He's old.
They want him. They better be willing to pay the price. What do you think, Lawrence? You're an outsider. What do you think should happen?
I mean, so if I'm bringing in Butler to get me to the playoffs, I kind of want to keep my roster as much intact as I can. So tactically, I think it's going to be a team that just offers the Heat so much draft picks that they don't even know what to do with. Because that's kind of where the Heat have been for the last couple of years. It's just always getting these undrafted guys. There's undrafted guy this, undrafted guy that. Like, they haven't really, besides, like, well, maybe this might be me coming out as a casual, but, like, outside of, what, Jaime Jaquez? I mean, how many guys have they gotten, like, through the draft that have, like, made an immediate impact outside of, what, Jaime Jaquez? I guess Hero, but
Hero and
Hero's
Bam.
they're kind of what I would say is a little bit older than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about guys in the last like 2 to 3 seasons. Hero and Bam have been here for a little bit of time. So I think it's going to be a team that just gives you a bunch of draft picks. I don't think you're going to be getting much talent back because if I'm bringing in Butler, it's because I think he's going to pair well with what I have already. I think that's kind of the in-season trade. Otherwise, I think you're going to a desperate team. I think the only way you're going to get it is a team full of desperation that's going to give you draft picks and one of their players. I think that's how it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I mean, players are going to have to be involved just because Butler's number is high, and Miami, there needs to be some salary matching. Miami can't. I think they can't take back any money, so it would have to be somebody around Butler's number, not necessarily the same, but someone. It's going to be someone in the 40 millions. So that's why I'm saying like Fred Van Fleet, and then maybe a rookie. Maybe give me Reed Shepard. Maybe give me the Thompson twin. Maybe Jabari Smith Jr. And if you're the Warriors, you probably have to throw in a couple guys. You may have to throw in a Kuminga. I don't know their contracts very well, but I mean it's gonna have to add up to about 40 million. So with that in mind, I think those two teams work the most because they both have draft picks, and especially the Warriors. The Warriors are really desperate. Ingram's out, which I think was their plan A. Ingram's out for who knows how long. The Pelicans don't want to move off Zion, so that rules out Zion. The Suns want to keep their core together. They're not going to trade within their conference. And then you look everywhere else, it's just like the stars are hurt, and other teams are looking too. So I think the Warriors are desperate enough to do it.
I guess we'll see about the Warriors being desperate enough to do it.
Yeah, either team I'll be fine with, but I mean Heat fans, you gotta look at the writings on the wall. I think Jimmy's gone, whether it's through a trade or through the off season. So if he's not getting that contract, do right by him. Let him go to a contender. Don't pull a Portland. Don't pull a Portland.
Throwing shade.
The other thing we kind of hinted at earlier, Bill Belichick is I can't believe this. He's going to be the new head coach at UNC, their football program. I'm guessing this basically means that he didn't foresee any job openings that he would want becoming available this cycle. So I'm guessing he's going to spend at least a year there. Lawrence, how are you reacting to this this news?
I just think it's an odd choice. Not that he's going to college ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with him going to college football. I just think with the whole NIL, the way the NIL is set up and everything,
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like he's gonna have to go to like house visits and stuff like that, which I can't really see Bill Belichick wanting to do. So I feel like I think it's gonna be outside of him as well in
Yeah.
terms of people trying to go for recruiting. But really, what's got me is the NIL. Like he's gonna come in here so lost over it, and maybe it won't matter that much because he should know how to win football games. He was an NFL coach for God's sake, but I just think the way college is played, which is kind of faster, and if we remember correctly, one of the problems people were having with his scheme in New England was how slow and unathletic some of his players were. And in college is completely about being fast and agile and just having kind of better guys than the other team. So strategy sometimes is out the window with college.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing too. Is I don't know how he's going to navigate the NIL landscape. Even if it is a short stop, like let's just say he coaches for a year or two, like the word on the street is he wants his son to take over. Once he either decides to retire or move up to the NFL again. Once he gets a desirable job, but you don't want to leave your son who's next in line. You don't want to leave him a kind of shit roster. So
Hmm.
uh, I don't know how much money the boosters are paying at UNC, but he's gonna have to navigate that. I'm sure he can do it. I'm not. He was a great NFL coach. You're dealing with college kids. I'm sure they'll listen to you. You got the prestige, but it just comes down to getting the players. And if we're being honest, the ACC hasn't gotten the good players. Uh, Honestly, in the last 5-10 years. I mean, honestly, Clemson with Trevor Lawrence probably was the best ACC team that's been out there, and ever since it's not been a good ACC team. I mean,
There
you
hasn't been a
could kind of count
consistent.
Florida State last year, but once Jordan Travis got hurt, they were kind of meh because of their schedule. But there hasn't been a good ACC team out there. So
I would say there's been good ACC teams. There hasn't been a consistent ACC team.
yeah, yeah,
That's the big kicker. They can't consistently put games and seasons together. But they do have two teams in the playoffs, so I was really excited to see that they put SMU in there over Alabama.
yeah.
Just because, and let's face it, SMU was kind of done dirty. I mean, to be fair, it is the ACC conference and all, but like the ACC championship game is almost always in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, how fair is it that Clemson is playing SMU and Charlotte, North Carolina for the ACC championship game when SMU was the higher seed? I mean, that it just felt a little wrong. I mean, you couldn't, you know, 180 and say, "Dang, let's make it closer to the probable home team," or let's not announce the spot of the ACC championship game before the season starts. So just in case that the team who, you know, first season in makes it in, and then they're just completely across country from it. I mean, there's just some things.
Well, I think the championship games are always set in the same spot, right? Because like SEC is
It's always in
always in the draw.
Charlotte.
Yeah, I was in Charlotte. Yeah,
But that's the thing; it's gonna have to start changing because it's just completely unfair.
I
If
mean, I
it's
agree with you.
if it's in the old format of the ACC, it's a little bit more fair. Every team's close enough to where it's Clemson's gonna have the advantage because they're right around the corner. However, it's not the end of the world because our fans can make it. SNU fans literally don't have time to go to that.
Yeah, they'll probably need to find a new site for that. But good segue where CFP. These games don't kick off for another 2 weeks. But what's your first when they first unveiled the bracket? What were your first thoughts other than SMU getting in over Alabama? Which I agree with. Alabama should not have made it, and a lot of people pissed off. But hey, it is what it is.
Honestly, I think Clemson has a chance to upset Texas. Honestly, Texas,
Did not play well.
they have not played well. They've looked uninspired. And the fact that, honestly, I feel like they should have gone to Manning already and just called it quits. I don't think there's anything wrong with Ewers, I just think Manning is more of a college quarterback. I think yours is more of a NFL type quarterback, but Manning can run the ball, and
Yeah,
there's a different element when he's in that you're just not getting the other way around.
I think they're doing yours a solid by not trying to fuck up his draft stock, which is good on the
Honestly,
university, but bad if you actually want to win.
I think Ohio State handles Tennessee. I think Tennessee is a little young, um, and I also think the SEC this season there hasn't been a solid team in my opinion. There hasn't been a solid. This is our front runner, and Tennessee also hasn't looked like a front runner at multiple points. Um, and then Penn State and SMU. I'm glad SMU got in, but there are games where they just turned the ball over. I mean, we saw it week 1 against Nevada, where they just had a bunch of turnovers and then narrowly won it. Pretty sure SMU did that multiple times in the ACC against teams, and I think Penn State knows that this is it. You got to win these. I mean, this is the whole reason why it was going to be important for your I guess I wouldn't say franchise, but for your college to make it into this um, college playoff because you always lose in the big game, and this is your chance to like, yeah, we lost the big game because they did. They lost the big game to Oregon, but you can still be rewarded for losing the big game, sad as it is, and you get to play SMU, and I think they had the easiest path. I think Penn State, they get SMU, then they get Boise State. I mean, they lost the big game, but they had the chance to get to the biggest game because of their pathing. And then last but not least, I think Notre Dame has Indiana's. I think they're going to take care of Indiana. I mean, if you really think about this Indiana team, it's just JMU. Like the team is just the JMU team that was really good the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
He took all the players he could from JMU with him to Indiana. So we're talking about different levels of talent. I think Indiana. If you also look at it, Indiana did have a nice little easy pathing in the Big Ten, where they didn't have to play any of the big boys. They played some decent boys, but they didn't play any big boys. And the one time they played a big boy,
yeah, smacked around.
they got smacked around.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think Clemson can have Texas' number. It'll be interesting to see which Texas shows up. I have faith in Ohio State. They seem like they can't beat. The only team they can't beat is Michigan, which is another story for another day. SMU, Penn State. I feel like for me, that's a coin toss. I don't think Penn State has shown that they can win the big games either, and so, same with SMU. And then Indiana, Notre Dame. I think there's just levels to this. Even though Notre Dame lost to some action early in the season, I think that was just a fluke, and they should win and then get beat by Georgia. So
I honestly think it's unfair for Oregon based on the way they made the playoff bracket. Like Oregon is like the number 1 team. Like they have proven that by far this season they are the number 1 team. And honestly, they kind of got screwed because I don't see how giving the number 1 team Tennessee or Ohio State is really fair. I mean, I honestly think the number 1 seed should be playing either Notre Dame, Indiana, or SMU, Penn State. Like that's who number 1 team should be matched up with. Like I just did all that work to get the number 1 seed, and honestly, I kind of wish I lost.
yeah, no, you're right. You're right, but hopefully they will learn their lesson from the first season of this and kind of fix things for the next year. But this is what we got for the first year of the 12 team playoff bracket. I'm a fan of it so far.
I'm a fan because I just want to see more chances for teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. Last thing I want to bring up is our Mason Patriots. They're doing pretty good, Lawrence.
5-game win streak.
Beat Tulane their last game. They surprisingly beat JMU at JMU, which I was very surprised. I don't know how you feel about that, but I was very surprised that they pulled that one off.
Big surprise here as well.
And then of course they beat some kind of poop teams, so we're not gonna we're not gonna praise them too much for that. But 5 game win streak, they've looked better on offense. They're still playing good defense. Honestly, our big men are they're playing their ass off. I think we got 2 really good big men. I think that's gonna help us down the road when we go against other teams that have really good big men. Um,
I
we will
think
get murdered by Duke because Duke just has too much talent for us. But it'll be interesting to see if they play Duke as well as they played Marquette uh, in the first half, at least.
I think the big thing about Mason is, I guess, the growth that the team is making as a unit. I think the big thing that I saw when I went to the Ferrum game uh, is that it was a clear disadvantage that Ferrum had no big guys. Yet at some points in the game, Skin is trying to play, five guards, 4 guards, 1 forward. You should just straight put both our centers out there, rock the paint, and make them suffer. Don't try to play to the level of your opponent. Just beat the shit out of them. They literally can't stop big men. They don't have a big man to stop big men. Punish it. And it kind of, they did the whole first half. It was, we should be beaten by more than this. Just do it. And they just weren't doing it. And I think it was after that game when they realized, like, we have solid advantages when we play teams sometimes. Like, I don't know, maybe we have 2 good big men. Let's actually use our 2 good big men. I don't know. It just seems like that Skin is starting to learn how to scheme up his teams a little better.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed. Uh, I didn't really watch too much of the Firm game, but I knew it was closer than it should have been in the first half. I'm like, this team is not good. Why is it so close? But then once I watched, because I didn't watch the JMU game, but I did watch UNC Asheville. And I'm like, oh, he's finally playing both of the big guys. And I'm like, he should have been doing this. Like, they both can move. They both can, defend in the paint. They both can score. I don't see the problem with playing 2 big guys if they don't get in the way of each other in the flow of the offense. And defensively, they're nothing but advantages. I don't see why he was refusing to do so before. Trying to coach, trying to be cute with his coaching or whatever the case is. I know he's still young, but these are things that, as a young head coach, you just gotta, hey, if it's working, like, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? The old saying. And I think he needs to lean more into that. Now, there's a team that, just like Duke, their big men are just going to be better. So you might just have to play one big man because that one big man is going to get in foul trouble a lot. And then you bring the other one in. So in that situation, yeah, don't play both because you don't want both of them getting in foul trouble early and then you don't have anyone behind them. So I get that point. But these other teams just dominate the paint. You don't really have shooting this year. This has been a trend. We don't have shooting. This has been a trend. We don't need Maddox jacking up shots. O'Connor, he can shoot, but not really. Get easy buckets. Get easy buckets. Get to the free throw line. The big man can help with that too. And that's just going to be the formula to win. And you just got to go with it. Don't got to be too cute to win games, especially once we go into conference play, right?
Yep. And the conference was slated to have 4 top 100 teams at the beginning of the season.
Oh, who's the teams?
It was Loyola of Chicago, VCU.
Yeah.
What was it? St. Louis and I think it's St. Bonnet. It's either St. Bonnie or St. Joe. And then George Mason was projected at 104 overall
Ooh,
rating.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure we lost all of our claim to fame pretty early on with some of the performances we put up.
Yeah. Yeah, tough early going. We were both kind of down on Mason, but seems like they turned the corner. Let's just hope they play well against Cooper Flag and the boys.
Honestly, as long as they lose by less than 20, I think we're all right.
Yeah.
Which is really sad to say it out loud, but
I mean,
as long as you can keep it within 20, because we're going to Duke. Like, we're playing in Duke. As long as you can keep it within 20, I think it proves a lot. If we can keep it within 10, I think that's a big win even if we lose.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, so that's a little bit about college basketball. Anything else you want to go over, Lawrence, before we head on out?
Nah, man, I'm good.
I'm good as well. So with that being said, guys, we'll catch you next week. Enjoy NFL Week 15. MTL Sports here. We're heading out. Peace.